welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today, yes, I'm in a different setting. I'm actually in my kitchenette because today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be making my home recipe for chicken soup, and I'd love to share that with you. And of course, before I start, first and foremost, I'd like to tell you what the ingredients are that I'll be using or what is included, so that if you'd like to make it along with me, you know what to get. So first and foremost, we have flour here because we'll need to make what I call spinners, which are just some small rolled flour. And then we have salt because of course we'll need salt. We have some crushed Scotch bonnet, which is just pepper, red peppers. We have some thyme. We have a soup mix, some baby carrots, which I'll dice, pimentos. I have a squash, butter, of course, because you will need butter, chicken already like pre-done in terms of skinless because we'll slice this into thin pieces, an onion because I like onions, 2 pegs of garlic or 3 if you really like, and corn. If you'd also like to make this recipe a little bit more spicy, then in terms of, and by spicy I mean with more things, you can add xoxo as well as yam. So it's up to you. Don't be afraid to try new things and make the dish your own. So let's get started. And in order to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is dice the squash as well as make the spinners, so that once I'm ready to throw everything into the pot, they're already ready. And then after that, I'll just skin the carrots and dice them as well. Alright guys, so I'm gonna cut the squash, but before I start, what I'm gonna do is just wash my chicken in vinegar. You can also wash it in lemon if you have, and I'm gonna let that sit in the vinegar water just to cleanse it while I cut my squash. Pot that I will be using, because this is big enough. It's just for me as one person, so that's what I'll be using. Pumpkins, this is what they look like. I dice them pretty small because I like when they boil out into the soup for the most part, and when they're smaller it's easier for them to do so. In the meantime, I have put 2 cups of water on the stove in the pot to start to preheat, and in the meantime I'm gonna go ahead and wash the chicken and slice those into dices as well. So for the most part, the meat is pretty much clean. I mean, if you see any extra fatty pieces, you could go ahead and just, you know, remove those, but there shouldn't be much if you got the skinless meat that's already pre-sliced. So I'm just removing any extra pieces of fat that I in particular may not want to be on there. And like I said, there's not much. Great, so once that's done, it's just to slice the meat. I actually think 2 should be fine. I might save 1 for tomorrow for another meal, so I'll season the other one differently. So I'm just doing slices, and this will be in accordance to the amount of meat that you have. You can do them large or small, whatever works for you. And then when I have my longer slices, I'm just gonna go ahead and slice that slice in another piece, like in 2 pieces, so that I have more meat to go around. And this is what that looks like. And the first thing I'm going to do is add the meat to the pot. So I'm going to go ahead and turn up the stove, because since we're ready for it, just get that water to a boiling point. And I'm going to put the meat in, salt to taste and pepper to taste with some thyme. My chicken bits to the boiling water. As well as my diced pumpkins. And I'm going to let this cook for 10 to 15 minutes while occasionally stirring my pot. So 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm just going to put about a pinch of salt in it as well. I'm gonna go ahead and cover the pot with a little gape. I still have my leftover meat, so I'm going to season that in the meantime. And I'm also going to make the spinners, slice some onions and garlic, and skin the carrots. So here we are. Skin the onion, and I'm gonna go ahead and chop this up. Yes, I know I need to sharpen my knife. I do have a sharpener somewhere here. Whew, guys, I'm dying. Alright, and after that, I'm gonna go ahead and slice 2 skinned pegs of garlic. Whew, guys, my eyes. So, whew, my eyes are leaking, guys, because of the onions. But once that's done, I'm just going to go ahead and use about 4 or 5 carrots. I'll decide when I'm ready. And I'm going to go ahead and skin these. So I'm just going to remove the head and the tail. The head and the tail. And at this point, I'm just going to use a potato peeler and skin it, because it's just easier that way. going to just go ahead and add my carrots. Or any beans. Sometimes I make mine with string beans. I'm not feeling to do that today. Then now would be the time to go ahead and put them in and just give it a good stir and cover once again. Another 10 minutes or so, but this time we're going to be adding some other things in before the 10 minutes are over. Okay, so while that's happening, now it's time to make the spinners. And all I need for that is flour, a pinch of salt, some pepper, and water. So this is up to your discretion. If you'd like a lot of spinners or a small amount, then use the amount of flour you think necessary. I'm using about, I want to say about half a cup. There we go. And I'm just going to put a little bit more than a pinch. Mine's like, ooh. Okay, about 2 pinches. And I'm gonna just add a little bit of paprika to mine. That's just my personal preference. And then I just start making the spinners first by adding some water. And once I do that, I just slowly start to create, I don't know what you call it, basically a paste. Until it creates a paste, and then from a paste it will start to get thicker and thicker, and it's just that you start kneading flour. Yeah, we're kneading flour. This is what it looks like when I've just started, and it will get thicker as I continue. Okay, so once I finish kneading the flour, this is what it looks like. It's very doughy, not too soft and not hard, just a very chewy clay consistency. And how we make spinners are, we're just going to take a very small piece, about that big, and we're just going to roll it. And you could do this as big or as skinny as you like. And then this here is what we call a spinner. And we're just going to drop that in. So I've added my spinners and now I'm just stirring. You want this to stay for about, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes once you put the spinners in. I've done that, maybe another 5 minutes or so, but I think it's safe to go ahead now. And I'm just going to put in my chopped onions and garlic and some thyme as well as pepper. Okay, so I've added my onions and garlic. Now it's time to stir and get this thing going. If at this point you're worried about your chicken being overcooked, you can remove the chicken from the pot. I choose not to, it doesn't really bother me. And I'm gonna just let that cook down, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the stove up 1 notch. In addition to that, I'm gonna add some thyme, some fresh thyme. Some pepper to add a bit of color, some pimentos and crushed Scotch bonnet pepper. or you can cut them in more than a half if you would like. Again, I'm going to give it a stir just to mix everything together so all the ingredients are infusing with one another. And lastly, I would like to add the soup mixture from Maggi. And that should help greatly with the flavor. Yep, looking good. And I'm going to turn the heat all the way up. And I'm just going to leave everything on for another 5 minutes, and let me show you what our pot looks like. Yum! It looks delicious. So in 5 minutes, go ahead and dish up, and there you have your well, I don't want to call it Jamaican chicken soup because everyone has their different way of doing things, but I am Jamaican, of course, and that's where I learned to cook. It's a little bit different because I don't have all my ingredients that I would at home as I live in Germany, but that's it, guys. Go ahead and leave in the comments, tell me how you prepare your favorite meal or how you would put your spin on this chicken soup, and until next week,